Welcome to the Cemetery Gates podcast featuring Xander Kane and Android Virus. Back to the Cemetery Gates podcast.
Ooh, look at the pronunciation.
Podcast.
Popping with the podcast.
Yes, I am Virus, featured by my illustrious co-host, or joined by my illustrious co-host, Mr.
I
Xander
can be the
Kane.
feature. It's fine. That's me. I'm the feature.
You're the feature, the big deal, the big director, big star. I'll have to tell you about that funny story. Yeah. So, hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for listening. And,
long time no record.
We're back for, I don't know, until next time.
Well, I think we took a break because I knew you had a lot of stuff to do with last weekend, so I just kind of let you get through all that.
Yeah. It was a whirlwind of a weekend. So, we attended the Morgan Crypt Horror Fest here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is, I think there's been a couple attempts at some horror fests here in Albuquerque that just never came back, didn't take off, something happened, don't know. But the event organizers, the owners of Morgan Crypt, I think they were scouring the local Albuquerque horror scene, for vendors, and they wanted to keep it really as much as local as possible. And they showed up one night to a screening at the Guild of Android Vision. And they liked what they saw. And they're like, hey, do you want a booth? What can we do here? And I said, let me think about this, because I'm kind of a niche, right? I don't have merch to sell. I'm not one of those guys. So I said, this is what I do. I host horror movies. I said, if you can think of a spot that you could have me there, I'll be more than willing to do for you guys what you need. But as you can see, what I do at the Guild is I do an online show where I host horror movies and I put makeup on and do that for the Albuquerque horror scene. And, it's just like a late night horror host, but it's me. And now I have a team of people with me, a whole cast of characters. So they call me the boss, but I would say I'm not the main one anymore. I think it's all of us, you know what I mean? We all collaborate. But yeah, they asked me over there, and then they said, okay, cool. Well, we can still get you a booth. And I said, all right. So gave it to Caitlin, who is on Android Vision with me, and she sells really cool fucking earrings. She makes them all herself, and she sells really fucking cool candles. And she swept it. She mopped it up this weekend, Mr. Xander Kane. She mopped
Good for
it
her.
up. Yeah, she made some cash, which I was really happy for her about. And we sold some Android Vision gear, and I brought some old comics and some old horror comics and some old horror toys that I had. But it was a pretty cool con, man. It was cool. The vibe was there. There's always going to be hiccups the first year, and I think they had some. But I have nothing but good things to say about it, and I think those hiccups were probably logistical stuff. It wasn't like things were disorganized. I mean, it just, I think, so they asked me at the last minute to host some, they called them short blocks. So they had there was a movie on last Friday night that they wanted me to host called Hillbilly Holocaust. And then the next day they had a couple of more shorts. And then they had another movie in the afternoon. I forget, Maven's movie Madness or something. Martell's movie Madness. And then in the afternoon we hosted Sleepaway Camp. And then we did the panel with Felissa Rose, which is fun. And then the next day there was another couple of blocks of shorts. And they had me host all those basically.
Nice.
Which was really cool, man. It was a really good experience. Go check out my YouTube channel, Android Virus. I put up a 30-minute video of me and one of my other co-hosts, Shred Geen, perusing the floor of the HorrorCon, just interviewing random people.
Nice.
It's really funny, but it's because we're fucking dumbasses, but in all good good humor. We're not like cheap. You know what I mean? We don't like to belittle people. We don't like to obviously no racist humor, no sexist humor, no transphobic humor. No gay slurs or homophobic humor. That's just who we are. You know what I mean? We don't want to alienate people, so we're not like going for the cheap, fucking bullshit.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, no, we're
trying to be edgy or shit. So
no,
just trying to be funny.
The funny one was though. Guess who I interviewed randomly?
Who?
My old co-host Vanessa.
Really?
Yeah.
How was she?
Oh, that was she like it was so awkward at first because I could tell I was awkward, she was awkward, and then we actually had a nice sit down. So, and everything's good. Cool. It was pleasant. It was nice and pleasant, and she requested me on Facebook, and we'll probably never go back to the capacity of what we were as far as collaborating, and I'm okay with that because I'm happy where things are at right now. But it was really nice, full circle moment, clear the air.
Yeah, kind of like closing the chapter up and.
Right. That was very nice. But made new friends, man, new contacts. I'd never been to a horror con before. I've been to comic cons, and I've never really been too impressed with the celebrities. The only person I really wanted to meet was like Scout Compton and Danielle Harris, and they're really cool when I met them. But like at this one, like everybody was really cool for the most part. I'm not going to give away the names who weren't cool, but everybody for the most part was really, really nice. So
yeah.
And again, Felissa Rose was amazing. So
yeah, she's the fucking best.
Look for the panel that's getting professionally edited as we speak, and you can laugh your ass off because we did it in Android Vision, which means we're in character. And I went up to Felissa. I was like, "Hey," she's like, "Hey, nice to meet you." She was at her table. I was like, "We're going to be doing your panel." She's like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, and it's going to get fucking weird." She looks at me. She goes, "I like fucking weird." I was like, "All right, we're good. It's going to be fun." And boy, did we make it fucking weird. As weird as we could. It was, yeah. And then, we got a lot, nothing but awesome compliments. Like, that was one of the best fucking panels we'd ever seen. And I was like, what? Like, this is my first panel I've ever conducted or done. It was
tell me that. Yeah.
Yeah, her, I guess her publicist or whoever, brings all those people in. Shout out to him. He was really cool. His name is Matt Osborne, but he's a personal appearance agent. And he brings all those people in. Really nice guy. And he just, after he shook my hand, he goes, "Man, that was fucking hilarious." I go every time with all these people and sit at the back, make sure everything's going good. And he goes,
right.
"God damn, that was funny." I was all, "Thanks, man. I appreciate that." Like, but there was 5 of us interviewing her at the same time. Yeah. Not going to give nothing away, but there were stories of suppositories. There were stories of, what else? I don't know, penis sizes. Yeah.
So just stay tuned for that, everybody.
Yeah, it was out there, bro. So anyways, what have you been watching, sir? The whirlwind is over for me for now.
Ooh. Oh, man, yeah. I've checked out a lot of newer stuff lately just to kind of catch up. I watched this really cool vampire flick called Wolf Manor, and it takes place in an old so these people are shooting a vampire movie in this old like house, and it's like you kind of get the vibe of it's like the equivalent of having like Christopher Lee come back and play in a Dracula film for like one last time. So it's like this older actor that's always played Dracula, and he kind of doesn't want to be there, but they're shooting at this old house, but then it's a full moon, and then wolves come to the manor and start like attacking and killing them all, and it's pretty violent. There's some great gore scenes, great werewolf effects that are pretty damn solid for a low budget of. I mean, I shouldn't even say this is low budget because I don't even know what the budget is. It actually looks like it's done pretty well, but a damn good, probably one of the better werewolf films we've had in a while, called Wolf Manor. So I highly recommend checking that out. It was damn fun.
I am a sucker for werewolf movies.
You would enjoy the shit out of it. It was damn good. Damn good. And I caught the sequel to Becky. Did you ever watch Becky?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, so it's the original Becky's about a girl who winds up just killing a bunch of dudes, and then this is like the part 2. So they made a sequel.
Oh, okay.
But it's just about a 16-year-old girl going crazy and fucking killing people, and guys like writing her off because she's, a girl. But in the sequel, it takes like a lot of people will bitch about the sequel because they basically take a bunch. She's killing off a bunch of far right extremists out in the woods because they basically take her dog. So it's a little John Wick too, but it's incredibly violent and just a fucking fun ride. And I actually like the sequel a little more than the first one. So Wrath of Becky is definitely high on my best of 2023 list at the moment. So we'll see if it holds. But if you like the first Becky, you'll like the Wrath of Becky. So definitely no complaints there.
Nice.
And then
I never saw the first one, so now
it's a good double feature. I just watch them both. It's good.
You piqued my interest.
Yeah, and I did watch the new Children of the Corn, which was just okay.
How corny was it?
Just okay. It I don't know. They take a few different angles and liberties with the story in this one, and it's not. And I didn't mind necessarily some of that, but I don't know. Just kind of over the whole Children of the Corn, like, kind of reboot of it all. So, yeah, it's just okay. I would skip it. If you must see it, go ahead and see it. But to me, there was nothing really crazy standoutish about it. And like, oh man, this was awesome.
So if you're a glutton for shitty remakes, is what you're saying? Go watch it.
I think I gave it a 2 out of 5 or something like that. It's not the worst, but there was some different stuff that I did like that I'm sure a lot of other people didn't care for, but it's fine. I'd skip it.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I'm some remakes I'm down for, some aren't. I feel like we got the best remakes that we're gonna get out of anybody for a while. Like, didn't they remake Black Christmas twice, really close together?
Yeah, the second one's not. Well, there's Black Xmas and then Black Christmas, which doesn't even. It feels like a completely different movie than the other two. Yeah. And
didn't bother.
Yeah,
but I heard that the remake was good though. The original one to Paris Hilton.
And Black Christmas, she's not in it.
Wait, is it Black Xmas? Is that the one with Paris Hilton?
No. She's not in it. It's got Lacey Chabert and a few other folks in it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Paris Hilton was in it.
And the last movie I'll mention is The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, which is like a Frankenstein type story that I absolutely loved. It was fantastic.
What was it called?
The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. Her brother gets killed, and she's basically like creating a Frankenstein of her brother, and it's fucking awesome. It's done really well. The girl that plays the lead in it is fantastic. Damn good film. Loved it. A great new version of Frankenstein, but it's not like, I don't know. They do some different stuff in it, but anyways, check that shit out. It's good.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Been really busy, but I did take the week off, so I've been catching up on some stuff, and finally got to see Smile.
Nice. What you think? I think they're making a sequel.
Well, there's no way they can't.
Yeah,
but
anyways,
there's a sequel. I don't want to give anything away. I liked it. I liked it. I feel like third act or the fourth act, whatever you want to fucking call it, kind of fell off the rails a little bit. I would have liked to have seen. I would like to have not seen whatever we saw, if you know what I mean, at the end.
Yeah.
I don't want to give nothing away about the movie.
I had every expectation to just not like that movie just because the marketing went so viral. I was like, oh, that's it. the marketing's viral. The movie's going to be terrible. So
Sure.
I pretty much had like wrote it off, and then I went and saw it, and I was like, oh, it was enjoyable.
Yeah. No, it wasn't bad, dude. Like I did not hate it. It really kept me intrigued, and I really liked that aspect of it. But at the same time, I was just like, and it's just the end kind of fell apart for me a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like it just fell apart. And I mean, yeah, we're gonna definitely see a sequel, which is cool. But yeah. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. And then I did catch a very. It kind of surprised me, man. And it's a crime thriller, but there's definitely some horror aspects into it. And it was 2018's Night Hunter. And I don't know how this movie like fell through the radar, if it was straight to fucking Amazon or a straight to whatever, right? Like straight to digital basically, because I don't remember seeing, but it's actually starring Henry Cavill, Ben Kingsley, Alexandra Daddario, Stanley Tucci, Nathan Fillion. Like it's got a loaded cast, and it's basically about a fucking serial killer.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I haven't seen it, but I remember seeing the like trailer for it somewhere when it was coming out.
Man, it's Canadian, but
Heather will love it.
Heather will love it. I haven't talked to Heather in a while, but it was directed by. Well, it didn't get a great high rating on IMDb. It was like a half a star, but it was direct. Yeah, not a half a star, a 5 out of 10 basically.
Oh, okay.
But it was written and directed by David Raymond, and he's only directed a few films. This is the last film he directed. But he writes a little bit, directs a little bit, but nothing crazy. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It kept me engaged. Really kept me engaged.
No, that's on my list. I remember seeing it, but I haven't.
Yeah, if you're into serial killer, crime,
thrillers,
kind of thriller type of shit, then yeah, check it out, man. Check it out. It was halfway decent. And obviously got to see a ton of shorts at the con this weekend. But the one that stood out the most for me was a movie called Elevador, which is elevator in Spanish. And it's about 15 minutes, one of the longer-winded shorts. And we decided to, like, me and Rachel and Preston, a.k.a. Shred, so my wife, we're like, So I went up there and I hosted it. And I read just only excerpts about the movies. I didn't watch them all beforehand. And that's – I kind of like doing it that way. I'm like, hey, this movie's directed by blah, blah, blah. This is the name. This is the country it's from. And, a little quick synopsis about the movie, which I really just wanted to do. I didn't want to give away everything because I just didn't want to be too long-winded in the hosting of them.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm sitting there. And this is funny. Like I'm sitting there cross-legged on the stage, right? It's a fucking auditorium that holds 1,000 people, which is hilarious. And there's probably maybe a dozen people in there sitting in the front rows. And I'm sitting there cross-legged with my makeup on and shit. I got the Android Vision banner behind me. And I said, hey, just reading off the movies. And then I said, all right, guys, let me see a raise of hands. How many of you have done psychedelics? I get a few hands up. I was all right. So you're going to enjoy this first one because it's going to take your psychedelic experiences to the next level from what I hear. So anyways, so we watched it, me and Rachel and Preston. And right after that, we left. And because we had more shit to do, right? They were showing about another 5 to 8 more shorts. So we're walking out, and I just felt gross. Like, ugh. And then Rachel turns on, she goes, do you guys feel kind of funny? And Preston's like, yeah, Rachel's like, I feel like I need to take a shower. Like, I'm like, ugh. And then Preston looks at me and goes, you want to go for an elevator ride? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Because I just highly recommend seeing it. It's fucking weird. But yeah, it's a Mexican short horror movie called Elevador. But just fucking watch it.
Nice.
You watch it. Watch
I will. I don't know where to watch it, but I'll try to find it.
Try to find it, bro. It was fucking very fucking weird. So, all right, man. On to our movies. Sir.
Onto it.
Let's get the fucking ball rolling. So what are our degrees of separation tonight? We both picked 90s films.
Yeah.
Which we don't do normally. Well, I mean, we always have some weird amount. We have a correlation of movies that we pick. Like, there's the weird thing between you and me is like, we go blind. We don't tell each other. It's just like we shoot. Boom, pick this. Boom, I pick this. Okay, cool. And I don't know about you, but 90% of the time I just like look at the name of the cover and I'm like, all right, we're doing this.
Yeah, that's how I accidentally pick Borderline Pornos.
Yeah, well, I think I took the cake for this episode.
I believe you did. You made the pornoiest of horror films we've ever watched.
All right, so let's get into it. I guess we'll do mine first.
Yeah.
All right, so let's listen to the trailer for 1995 Sorceress, and we'll be right back.
You're talking to the new senior vice president of the overpriced and very distinguished law firm of Geiger and Greenblatt.
I never doubted it for a minute.
You're bewitched, my sweet, because you're stuck with me forever.
Somebody just murdered my family.
I wish your naked bodies were just pressed together right now. He'd like for him to rip your clothes off and take you right in front of his wife. You wonder what it would be like. You wonder so much, you're gonna dream about it.
You'll never be rid of me.
Don't fight it. Surrender your will and let your thoughts become my thoughts.
All right, guys. So that was the trailer for The Sorceress, also known as Temptress 2.
Yeah, so also in the same year, 95, when this released, there's another film called Temptress with Chris Sarandon and Dee Wallace.
Oh.
So, interesting.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And they would call this and I didn't research it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't research shit. But it is it's what they call an erotic horror film.
Yeah. Directed by no other than Jim Wynorski.
Jim Wynorski, of course. And I didn't know that either.
Neither did I until I saw it, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, when I saw that shit, I was like, oh, this is a Jim Wynorski joint.
Get interesting.
Yeah, because we've done a couple of Jim Wynorski movies. So, yeah, basically, you got the big names. I'm going to go by the other names. The big names you got in here is Julie Strain and Linda Blair.
Right.
And if you guys don't know who Julie Strain is, Google her, R.I.P. She was huge into how could I explain it? Like Heavy Metal magazine. She was an often drawn person because of her likeness. She was 6'1" and looked like a temptress.
Absolutely.
And she just had that hair, like that 90s, that look. Giant fake breasts, really tall, really in shape, beautiful. Ended up marrying, was it Mr. Eastman from the guy who wrote the Ninja Turtles?
Brett Eastman?
No, was it? No, what was his name? Yeah, Kevin Eastman.
Kevin Eastman, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, he's an Ninja Turtle, and you know he was drawing her. He fell in love. So, anyways, there you have it. Be a halfway decent comic artist and halfway decent looking, and you can get a woman like Julie Strain, kids. Just let you know.
It's a win.
It's a win. But yeah, it's a 1994 American erotic horror film, again directed by Jim Wynorski, who originally did Killbots, aka what was
Chopping
the
Mall.
Chopping Mall? Yeah, and it was released. It's considered a cult film, by the way, and pretty much it's about an attorney. It's like the backgrounds. There's a bunch of attorneys, right, and they're in a law firm. In the beginning, you do have Julie Strange sitting there just doing, like, seriously, the first fucking clip is Julie Strange, full frontal nudity,
Yeah.
fucking doing some fucking ritual.
Yeah, I turned this on at work in my break room, and I was like, okay, we're turning that off.
Oh, there's another big actor in this, too.
Oh,
Michael Parks.
yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking, that guy's an amazing actor, by the way. He passed away, but he was in a lot of, like, the Death Proof movies and Quentin Tarantino loved this guy.
It also has William Marshall's in it, who's Blackula.
Yeah.
He's the main attorney guy. Like, he's the bigwig at the attorney office.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
Kind of got a little bit of a cast here, but
A little bit of a small part for him, but it was cool to see him in something.
yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. So she has this guy's face, which is his headshot, for the actor's headshot,
Yeah.
and she's like sprinkling blood on it and saying some fucking incantation and stabs it. And
Rubbing
he's
her
talking
body seductively the whole time.
Oh, I mean, how could she not?
She's like, let me put oil on my body first before I say this incantation.
Yeah, and like she stabs the picture, but he's talking to his wife, who happens to be Linda Blair.
Right.
And he's like talking to her, and he wrecks his car when she stabs the picture. So he's fucked, but not dead.
Yeah, but you do get a little you get a little scene from Linda Blair where she like has this intuition, like she's like, pull over, Charlie, or whatever his name is. I can't remember. What his name is.
Yeah.
Pull over.
But
Just
she's
wow.
like, something's gonna happen. So,
Howard, that's his name.
Howard,
Hello,
yeah,
Howard.
yeah, because it reminded me of Howard Hamlin from whatchamacallit. If you were a big fan of Better Call Saul, it's like everybody in a law firm you have to have a Howard in a law firm, I guess. But yeah, so this other like buxom blonde or buxom dark haired chick comes in. She's like, "You're not supposed to be doing that," you know.
Yeah, she's
And then-
Maria, I think is her name.
Yeah, and then the husband comes home and he's like, you're not supposed to be doing that. And anyway, he chases her and something happens and she falls. I wasn't quite paying attention at that point. And she dies. So he's like, my wife's dead. But he's an attorney as well, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, you love the other girl. Like, there's already a fucking love triangle going on.
Don't they have a threesome before the fight?
No, that was a flashback.
Or is that a flashback? Okay, yeah, it's a flashback.
Yeah, that's a flashback where they have a threesome.
Yeah.
And she's like she's jealous basically of him, and you know that's pretty much what it boils down to, or not jealous of him, but jealous of the fact, you know, that he may be in love with the chick that they had the threesome with.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of how that worked out. But she drops dead, but for some odd reason, we think that she's the one coming back. I don't know, maybe working her magic through other people's bodies, trying to get back to him.
Yeah, because he like sees her everywhere after she dies, and she's like always saying things and doing things, and kind of always in his head, and you don't really know if it's him in his own head or she's actually in his head, or it's his imagination. You don't really have that figured out at the beginning.
Yeah. So he basically Erica, that's Julie Strange, she eliminates the competition, which is the guy, you know, that he finally gets asked to be a part of the the fucking partner of the law firm, and he goes, as a matter of fact, you're going to be our first choice. But the story goes, there's some weird shit going on, because then you have the other guy. What was his name? Michael Parks.
Stan, yeah.
Stan. He does the gardening for Howard and Linda Blair, and somehow, some way, his wife and kids die, and they think it's him, right? And then
that they were murdered, yeah.
Yeah, and they think it's him, and he's got this weird talisman around his neck, and it falls off. He tries attacking the the attorney, the main guy,
Larry,
Larry.
Which is such a weird scene because like Larry just grabs like this. They're talking about the whole thing, and Stan is like, "Oh, they think I did it," and he's like, "No." He's like, "I don't have an alibi," so they're kind of talking it out. And then Larry randomly like picks up a fucking letter opener and was like carrying it like a knife, and then he puts it on the table, and then you're like, "Oh, I know where this is going," and of course Stan like fucking grabs it and tries to stab him in the fucking lawyer's office. Like,
yeah, that, and then it kind of goes to like, it goes to him, like it goes to a little bit of their backstory, and so the chick that was at the beginning that was trying to stop Julie Strain, who's another hot woman, goes back to like, you get your, this might be the third fucking scene in this movie, right? Like this is a Skinamax movie. This is a straight up late night Skinamax film. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, because all the sex scenes are like super long.
Yeah,
like
real
minutes
super long.
It's not like 30 seconds. It's like they play a whole jazz song.
Yeah, real drawn out.
Very Silk Stocking Skinamax-esque.
Yeah, like he's going down on her, but he's really licking her belly button. You know, just stuff like that. You know, just real funny. But yeah, basically what happens is like you see that she brings that other chick into a threesome, you know, Julie Strain, and I guess, I don't know, and she's like, that's why she's like, you love her at the beginning of the movie. So obviously if you're lucky, this threesome will not go sideways on you.
Right.
If you're lucky, if you're people listening out there, if you decide to, in your adult relationship and everybody's consenting, and you decide to do this, I'm going to let you know 8 out of 10 times it's going to go fucking sideways. And thank God for your host here, your co-host here, it did not. Just letting you know that happened one time. And I'm still married to my wife. And I didn't initiate it, Mr. Xander Kane. I'm just saying. But
fair enough.
It did not go sideways. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was a lucky one. Not this gentleman, though. It went sideways on him. And he
very quickly.
And then he starts like seeing this other chick, right?
Yeah.
And
which he apparently had a relationship with before at some point.
Yeah, at one point. And then, you know, this is the funny part. He's like, well, I don't think you want to know. She goes, I just think that's disgusting. He's telling her about threesome. And then she starts to fucking fall asleep and dream.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, in her dreams or something, voice in her head, it's like, you never thought about being with a woman before? And da-da-da-da. So she starts having this erotic dream, the blonde chick, about having a threesome, three-way with Julie Strain and the other fucking dark-haired chick. And then they go at it for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is a fucking porn, like, ugh. This is a porno, pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
Without the hardcore, right? The hardcore stuff. But it might as well be everything else.
Let's put it this way. This movie is an hour and 33 minutes long. I bet 38 minutes of that is sex.
And then bringing his partner, his other buddy working with him, some swarthy New Yorker guy, which is funny because he was totally, hey! I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And his wife, and they're hanging out at their house. But there's some weird shit going on with this talisman because after Michael Parks gets shot, because they do shoot him, the talisman somehow ends up on what's his name, or his new girlfriend, right? It lands up on Larry's, new girlfriend, the one who had the erotic dream.
It's Carol.
Carol.
Yep.
Then Carol dyes her hair dark. He's like, I don't like it.
To look like Erica.
Yeah, I don't like it. Because I just don't like it, And she's acting real weird and strange.
She's like, I thought you would like it. You loved her.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, cool. That's what he wants to hear. That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be like if my wife died and I was dating a chick and then she came back with matching tattoos that my wife had.
Right. Like, what are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing? I thought you loved her. Oh, I did, but Jesus. So basically, she's acting weird. She has this talisman. It boils down to the point where not only was Julie Strain a witch, we find that Howard's wife, Linda Blair, is a witch too.
Right.
What the fuck? Who didn't see that coming? And she's the one kind of fucking with everybody a little bit because she's also a witch, and she's not about to allow the crippling of her husband to go unpunished, right? So she fucking starts fucking with those guys, and that's what's going on because the chick's wearing the same talisman, and her husband is like, I'm not going to let you do this. This is fucked up. She's like, fuck you, Howard. I'm doing this for you. He's like, what? No, you're doing it for you. Like, you know.
It's like, you may as well kill me if you do this. Kill me now.
And she ties him to a chair. And then he gets unreleased. Or he releases himself and he blasts Linda Blair's wife she dies in a very Linda Blairish dramatic way. And then the curse is gone. And then they all fucking live happily ever after again.
Yeah. One
Pretty
final
much.
sex scene.
Yeah, that's it. And then there's a sorceress too, which I'm intrigued by. Yeah, that's it, bro. Really, in a nutshell. What do I give this movie?
I don't know. So here's the thing I think about this one is like, I do think there's actually kind of a cool story here with the sorceresses and
yeah, it's not bad.
Possessing and doing all that, but it's so heavy-handed with the Skinamax shit that it's just, you get bored with it, truthfully. So it's hard. It was really hard to keep my attention because it was like, oh, here's another 10-minute sex scene. Like, you know. So I just got kind of bored with it. But I do think there is some good bones around this, but not a whole lot of good bones. So it is a tough one to rate. So.
Well, and put it to this way, ladies and gentlemen. We're old men. Like, I'm not fucking jaded by this. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm just like, I mean, if you caught me when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe up through 20, and I saw this on TV, I'd be like, okay, unzip, okay. You know what I mean? But like now I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
And I was even showing my wife, I was like, I was watching it this morning on my phone and just laying in bed because I have two phones. I was watching my extra phone. And I told my wife, I picked a porno. She's like, what? And then I fucking said, check this out. And I'm showing her.
She's probably like, that's Xander's thing.
I know. And she's like, oh, he didn't pick one this time. So no, this one's all me. And I'm showing her like the 3-way sex scene. She goes, it's not even sexy. Look how fake their tits are. Like, she's just like, really? And I'm like, they're all penthouse pets. You know, Jim Wynorski. Right. So I'm going to give this one, man, like, okay, like on the sleaze factor, like the fucking sleaze factor, I got to go 2.5, right?
Yeah.
The other factor, as far as being an intriguing story, and without that, I got to go with like probably a 3. So automatically, I'm going to round it down to about 2.5, maybe even 2, right? It's if you're really into that Silk Stockings mid-90s feel, and that's up your alley, then and Jim Wynorski shit and Skinamax and old penthouse models, then this one's for you. If you're not into that, then probably not.
Probably a hard pass. Yeah, I would put it around a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience give it a 2.5, but I can give it a 2. I think it was okay. I don't think I'd watch it again.
No.
But I don't know. It's Wynorski. Yeah. Sometimes Wynorski I'm all in for and it's great. Sometimes it's not. So.
Yeah, this is real. I don't know. I do want to see Sorceress 2 though.
When did that come out?
Let me double check on that for you. 97.
Okay.
And Julie Strain is in it again. I wonder if she came back. I'm intrigued to see if it's just she's not the same character.
I'm not going to not watch the second one because, you know, now I need to know.
Now I need to know, yeah. Oh, Sandahl Bergman's in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I love her. Cool. Back then. Yeah, The Sorceress 2, The Temptress. It's got fucking... Julie Strain on the cover being Julie Strain. Love her. Anyways, R.I.P. Julie Strain. All right, so let's go into your movie, sir. What did we watch?
There's Nothing Out There from 1991.
Well, let's listen to the goddamn fucking trailer. We'll be right back.
Now let me get this straight. It's a house in the woods with 4 bedrooms, a pond, and nobody else for miles around.
Name a horror film. Any horror film.
This place is great.
Where's the bedrooms? Why don't I take a nice stroll down that dirt path into the woods late tonight, all by myself?
Ooh, I think I stepped on something.
Then afterwards, I can go skinny dipping in the pond.
I didn't see anything. It was plain nothing.
There is something out there. Don't forget, I have rented out every single horror film on videotape.
It's driving me crazy.
There's no need to worry.
What are we talking about here? Those things that pop out of your stomach when you least expect it?
Yes, I think you've seen some of these, too.
There's no need to fear.
There's nothing out there.
That's where the rest of the chicken was.
I don't know what that is.
There's nothing out there.
Did you hear something?
Oh, I know I heard something.
Because now it's in here.
Where's Jim?
Jim's in the other room melting right now.
This can't be happening.
You don't know anything about that creature except it, like everyone else, hates a mouthful of shaving cream.
This can't be so.
Oh, you're quick. Nice bikini.
This stuff only happens in movies.
So you're saying we're in a movie?
Uh-oh.
Oh, where did he go? Oh. She looked into its eyes. This thing hasn't missed a trick. Controls minds, eats people, reproduces. This thing's gonna have itself an orgy.
It's a fight to the death with a slimy mutation. And that's how I spent my summer vacation.
You see the creature? Give him my best.
There's nothing out there.
Well, this was a fun vacation, Nick. Too bad we have to go home now.
From 20-year-old filmmaker Ralph Konevsky.
All right, there's the trailer for There's Nothing Out There. And from 1991, Let Her Rip, sir.
Nice. So this is directed by Mr. Ralph Konevsky. I guess. Is that how you say that? Is his name?
Yeah.
He's done a bunch of stuff, but nothing of crazy note. He's written a ton of stuff. But yeah, seems like mostly a bunch of writing, TV credits, TV movies. Definitely been busy, so he's not a... This film didn't kill his career, let's put it that way. He seems to have done a ton of stuff since then, so good for him. But the whole story here is a group of friends go to a house by the pond.
I thought this was the house by the lake.
Yeah. But the movie starts off with actually a really cool scene with a girl in like a video store.
Yeah.
And she's basically walking through the horror section. You get all these you get to reminisce of those days because they show all the little covers and you'll see stuff like, Boarding House, Evil Dead, a ton of horror movie boxes. And someone's lurking around on there and grabs her arm and they begin to chase her through the video store, and she winds up getting caught up in like the reel from the VHS tapes, and she falls down the stairs, and then she wakes up and kind of freaks out, and she's driving, and then she crashes her car.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm awake. I'm in my dad's car. I crashed. He's going to kill me. And then when she says that, you see like this giant green orb
Tentacle
from the sky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it just like blinks and flashes down into the woods, kind of where she is, and then she kind of hears something outside, and you see like this green tentacle come and slap up against the window, and it eventually gets her out of the car and mauls her with these two like tentacles, and it's like a little triangular frog-looking mutant.
Yeah,
which is absolutely awesomely bad.
It's horrible.
Yeah. And so what we find out is where she crashes the car is actually right by this lake by the pond where all these kids are going to go for their little spring break.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, and they all eventually, like, they're all kind of paired up with a particular partner, and there's one particular guy that's kind of paranoid about being in the woods, and he's like, oh, this is an omen. We saw this because they see the crash car on the way in, and he like kind of freaks out, so he's like trying to get everybody to leave, and so he's like the paranoid one the whole time, and meanwhile everybody else is just trying to get laid in this thing. So all the guys are trying to take the girls like off to the woods or off to go skinny dipping. And eventually some other people show up, which I thought this was going to be a bigger plot point. Like a car full of like potheads and metalheads show up and go skinny dipping in the pond. And I thought they were going to be like a bigger plot, but no, it was just a reason to have some topless girls in the film, I guess. There wasn't much reason for it at all. But then the first couple kind of go out, and the guy winds up getting it pretty good, and the girl gets her pants pulled off and has to run like all the way through the woods trying to get back to the place, and she runs into a tree and boom, just like falls over and passes out for like a whole fucking day because you don't see her till the next day.
There's a lot of disappearing in this movie, I noticed.
Yeah, so people like they're disappearing, and then the couples are always disappearing off to have sex. So you have like all these little subplots with these people trying to have sex, and basically they'll all eventually wind up getting kind of their demise in unique ways. And then you
By the way, real quick, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good.
How many breasts do we get, dude? Like I mean, in the beginning, just the lake scene alone.
You get the lake scene alone. You get 4 girls, and then I think every girl in the house you eventually see. So there's like 8 different girls topless in this movie, and 4 of them have sex scenes. So it just keeps going and going and going. But they just kind of get picked off, and the one guy that's kind of paranoid, he kind of becomes like the hero essentially, because he's like the one that tries to figure it out. And as their friends all die in unique ways, they figure out that, okay, if the creature looks you in the eyes, it can like possess you. So it possessed one of the girls, and she like wound up trying to try to kill them, and they didn't know what was going on. And then they find out that it has all this like slime, so the slime does a certain thing, but then they figure out that, it just wants to mate with the girls. So you have like a breeder's situation where, they're just trying to mate. But the creatures really aren't that smart. Like they wind up like there's a scene where one of the creatures hits himself with a hammer. Like they're very kind of clumsy, and they figure out that, they can kind of outsmart these fucking things. And there's just they lock the guy, actually, to backtrack for a second. They lock the guy that is kind of the paranoid one. They lock him down in the basement by himself because he's just trying to scare us, blah, blah, blah. And he winds up making the basement flood and breaking a window, and nobody kind of believes him at all. They just think he's scared and wants to go home. But eventually they all figure out he's right, and there's some pretty solid scenes in here where one of the guy's face, he gets a bunch of green slime on his face, and it just completely melts his face. And you get like this pretty cool, low budget kind of effect that I thought was kind of fun. And they're all like, "Ugh, that's so gross." You also get a pretty cool decapitation in this, with a glass sliding door piece of glass that comes down and kills and decapitates one of their friends. But it's just a lot of that over and over and over. Some silly effects, some silly deaths. It's a damn fun ride. And towards the end of the film, they come up with some scheme to where they can trap the alien in the oven, and it kind of blows up. And then at the end of the movie, they wind up meeting the girl that has the car crash in the beginning. She's like, "Oh, I've been wandering around the woods for days. Thank you for picking me up." And then they're like, "Get the hell out of here." And they dump her off because they don't trust her. They think that she's possessed by, one of these monsters. Because you don't really know. They're guessing that there's more of them out there. That's not just the one that they're fighting. They think it's like breeding with women, and then the women are having more of these things. So, but anyways, it's just super low budget, silly. It's actually really funny at times.
Right.
Fuck, at the end, when the main owner of the cabin goes to the store early on in the movie after the guy in the basement broke out and the water was down there. He had to go find a plumber and get stuff, so he comes back to get them, and he's like doesn't know what's going on. He's just kind of playing by the rules, and they get the fuck out of there. And right before they leave, he throws a rock through the window, and the alarm goes off. And he's like, "Cops will be here any minute." And the one guy goes, "You mean to fucking tell me all we had to do was trigger that damn alarm and the cops would have been here?" He was like, "Yeah." Which I thought was just like, because that's what we're all thinking, right? It's like, why is this at the very beginning of the film? The alarm goes off. He's like, why are they trying to set the alarm? But it was funny. I thought that was pretty funny. And I think it's, the humor is not too slapsticky, but it totally fits. And it's just good fun. So I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, man. I think, the whole thing of this little slimy green alien frog, out in the woods, he's basically fulfilling his mission to kill all the human males and mating with the females, really. Yeah. That's really what it boils down to. And it's just kind of like, some of the guys have their brains sucked out, and which one of these women are carrying its babies or something. Yeah. It's kind of like, it does tap on some stuff regarding, like the Thing type of a little bit, the who are you, who's this? And again, the peppered in humor, I think, was really, really good. Definitely some great gore scenes, some really funny acting in it. I think some homages to the old horror stuff, from she was looking at the tapes in the beginning, and then, the main guy in the movie, he was all about horror movies. So he's like, oh, but they're going to do this. They're going to do this. They're going to do that, but it is definitely it's a horror comedy movie. Yeah. And, I think it delivers well. I think it's really funny. I know
it's almost like it has just an in-movie commentary, like kind of like Scream, So
yeah, it's self-aware.
Yeah, which is cool, but not crazy overly self-aware. But
no, not crazy. I mean, and Vinegar Syndrome, I think we released this not too long ago.
Yeah, well, it originally was put out by it was one of those, I guess this was in like the early 2000s maybe, when Troma was buying up a bunch of films and just releasing them. They got like this and Combat Shock and a bunch of other stuff that they just released. They just bought rights to and distributed them. But I think now Vinegar Syndrome or one of those other labels does have the rights to it now. So
yeah,
I think it's totally worth snagging up.
Yeah, for sure, man. I thought it was cool. I mean, for what it was, you get that face cut off scene, which is really good. You get a lot of TNA, which I like in the movies as well.
And the pacing's pretty good. I don't feel like it drags.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, man. I didn't get bored.
Because like when nothing's happening on screen, there's usually some sort of quick joke here and there that's like, a little chuckle. Like I wouldn't say anything's like gut busting hilarious, but you'll chuckle. So it's fun.
Yeah, it was a fun ride, sir.
Yeah, I would give it a 3.5. I think is where I stand on this one. So
not bad. I'm going to go with the 3. I could have used a little bit more gore, but the gags that we saw were pretty good. Yeah, and I wished the mutant frog was cool. I wish they could have done a little bit more with that as well.
Yeah, you can totally tell it's just like somebody's hands when they don't show the body of the frog thing. It's just somebody's hands with like green latex on it.
So yeah, with that being said, I mean, I don't want to go as high as 3.5. I think they could have done pay attention to a little bit more of that stuff. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at with it. But you guys go check these movies out. But if you're not into TNA, don't.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of TNA in both these movies, and we didn't pick that, guys. It
just kind of happened. There's you could make quite the montage from the clips from these movies.
Dude, I literally saw the fucking cover for The Sorceress and didn't even know. I was just like, 1994 Sorceress. Okay,
Linda Blair, cool.
Linda Blair, boom. That's it. Oh. There's a lot of titties in this. So fake ones too. So if you're into fake ones, watch my movie. If you're into real ones, watch Sandra's movie.
Aha.
There you go. There's the kicker. There you have it. So both pretty decent films for
Yeah.
sleaze purposes. So if you're into sleazy cinema, check these ones out. And we're going to try to watch The Sorceress 2 for our next one, I think.
Maybe. Just do it.
Yeah, I want to. I watched the trailer. It looks fucking amazing.
What if we did that and then watched that Temptress movie with Chris Sarandon and Dee Wallace?
Oh, dude, we should, just make it all weird.
I don't know if that's actually a horror flick, though.
The Sorceress 2 is technically, dude, it's 2 hours and 2 minutes. There's no way.
Fuck?
There's no fucking way I'm going to watch that.
Check out the Temptress with, it's got Kim Delaney in it, too. Chris Sarandon, Corbin Burnson, Dee Wallace.
Wow.
It says, Karen brings a statue home from her travels to Asia, and soon it begins to have a strange effect on her. She has an insatiable sexual appetite and develops strange fetishes such as pain and death.
Oh, those are strange fetishes, all right. The Sorcerers 2, The Temptresses. In a strange world, a brood of women practicing black magic are led by Tara, a sorceress. When a man appears there on accident, Tara tries to lure him into their sexual escapades in order to steal his soul. And by the way, Julie Strain is Tara in this one.
Oh, so she's a different character.
She's a different character, man. She's just
interesting.
Yeah.
She dye her hair blonde for this one?
No, it's black. You can't. Julie Strain's got to
Strain
look.
it. Yeah.
No, she's got to look, bro. Let's see if I can get a poster of her and put it in my garage. She's that hot. And I'm not into fake tits, sir, but she pulls it off. I don't know why. Very comic booky. All right, guys. So
very Vampirella looking.
Yeah, Vampirella. Hey, by the way, Jim Warnowski did a Vampirella movie.
I know. I believe I've seen it actually. It's what's it called? Hold on. Now I gotta look it up.
I've never seen it.
I mean, we don't have to do this on the show, but
just look it up. That's all right. We're gonna look it up. While you're looking it up, I want to give a shout out to some awesome podcasters and personalities. Death Curse Society.
Nice.
They are a group of wonderful gentlemen. Really, really cool. They're just, again, Death Curse Society. They go to their website, deathcursesociety.com. I don't know, man. They have a YouTube channel. They have, I can advertise with them for as little as $5 a month if I wanted to. But yeah, they did their podcast and stuff live here from Albuquerque. So they go and hit up conventions around the United States where they can. Super nice guys, super into horror. I really like what they got going on. And they were actually the ones kind enough to film our Felissa Rose panel, and they're going to edit it up for me and get it over to me. And they were kind enough to watch some Android Vision stuff, and we're like, man, that shit's really funny. I was like, thank you. My only regret, Xander, is I didn't fucking pimp Cemetery Gates hard enough.
It's all good.
But you know what? Make your way out here next year if it happens.
It's going to happen.
And I'm damn sure we can fucking find a way to do a live podcast from there.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's from Jim Wynorski's is from 1996, and it has Roger Daltrey as Vlad. From
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's right after he did that episode of Highlander.
Oh, God.
Highlander, the Highlander series on TV, this syndicated series. Maybe he had an ex-wife. I don't know. All right, guys. So thanks for listening to us. We will be back soon. I promise you that. And there'll be more schlock coming from us. But thanks for tuning to the Cemetery Gates podcast, guys. We'll see you on the flip.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Okay. Good night. Bye.
Good night.
You've been listening to the Cemetery Gates podcast, featuring Android Virus and Xander Kane. Follow us on Twitter @AndroidVirus, @Xander_Kane, and @CemeteryGates66.